Robert Holly. And he was a citizen, since he was already in the area, they asked him to kind of go on a little detail down to Carlsbad and come into the cave with Jim White and provide a reliable, kind of get an accurate report on what was actually under the ground. He was to map the trail through the cave and kind of survey, like I said, just compile a report and then send that back in, and then people would read that report and make a decision. So he came out here in May of 1923. The picture was published in 1922, so shortly after that picture was published, he was sent out here April of 1923, and he brought about a week's worth of supplies and clothes. Thought he was only going to be here for about a week. Ended up being here for over a month, coming through the cave, surveying, just kind of taking an inventory of what he was seeing here. But when he left here in May of 1923, part of his duties here was to send back, prepare a report, and send that back to his supervisors. And based largely on his report and his recommendations, this area soon became a national monument after that. But I've read most of his report. It's really, really long, and it's got a lot of jargon in there. But his first paragraph is pretty much sums it up, and I like to kind of paraphrase. There's 4 quotes that he uses in that first paragraph that I think still kind of holds true to visitors who come into the cave today. The first one is natural wonders, and that's obviously pretty obvious. Everywhere you look in the cave, there's all this natural beauty, all these natural wonders all around us. Another one he said that he felt when he was in here was he had a desire for inspired learning. He wanted to learn more about the cave. And I don't know if that's true of everybody who comes into Carlsbad Caverns, but I think at least 22 of you people that paid extra money to go on a ranger tour probably wanted to learn something about the history or the science or like the cultural aspect of the cave. So you had that same feeling. One was feebleness to convey in words, which we kind of hit on that in the King's Palace. It would be hard to explain what you were seeing here if you didn't have a picture to show. And the last is my favorite. He had conflicting emotions of awe and fear while he was in the cave. I don't know if people maybe have fear when they come to Carlsbad Caverns. It's a pretty tame place, but I think going into any type of cave, you have some sort of anxiety. You don't really know what to expect, how dark it's going. You know how dark it's going to be. How tight it's going to be, what you're going to find in there, maybe if you're not going to make it out. So that was what he felt when he came into the cave. And based largely on his recommendation in his report in May of 1923, a few months later in October, this area became Carlsbad Cave National Monument. And it stayed that way until 1930 when it turned into Carlsbad Caverns National Park, and it's been that way ever since. And we've hit on this too. There's 117 other caves inside the park boundary. And there's 47,000 acres on the surface that Carlsbad Caverns National Park protects and preserves as well. And in 1995, it was designated as a World Heritage Site, saying that the resources in this park are so spectacular, so unique, they are worth preserving and protecting for people who enjoy from all around the world. So there's not too many national or World Heritage Sites in the United States, and this happens to be one of them. So pretty amazing place. But when you think about caves, prior to national parks having them or private people owning and developing, they're a place where there is no light. The cave is very dark, and that's one thing I always like to think